Hi Raghav, welcome to Cinema Express. And of course, we are here to talk about Kota Factory Season 2. It's a show that has struck a chord in so many different invisible ways and obvious ways with youngsters, with kids, with aspirants throughout this country. I want to know, as with any previous production, the first season sort of came out of nowhere, and and it just blew up, and people loved it. And there's always an element of surprise, and you guys work on the quiet. We have no idea usually. You guys don't promote that much, pre-release. I want to know, did you anticipate the kind of love and connection that the show will create with audiences, and did that also mentally affect your roadmap going into season
First of
two?
all, thank you so much for having me. This is an immense pleasure. I am not used to doing solo interviews. I
Hmm.
usually have a battery of actors along with me, so they are my cushions. They are my buffers. So this is pretty new and exciting. So thank you so much for having me. The first season we
Hmm.
when we wrote it, it was supposed to be a small sketch. It was not supposed to be a show. So the writers eventually realized that there's so much that we can tell about this world that it ended up becoming a show of 5 episodes. So even when it was written and we were in pre-production, somewhere in the middle of pre-prod, I realized that this show needs to have something about it has something about it. This world, when we went for research recce's, this world turned out to be extremely slow. So
Hmm.
unlike the other young adult shows that you see on the internet or series that you see, it's very fast paced. It's extremely quick. It needs to gratify people immediately. But this is not that kind of a universe because it's driven and it draws a lot from real life. If you really go and see the kids in Kota, they are simply studying in a really small room with no sunlight, with just one tube light trying to make it to IIT. So it's absolutely heartwarming, and also it's wonderful that the audience can trust a black and white show in
Right.
2021.
Right.
So the response was absolutely unexpected. I knew when we put it out on the first season on
Hmm.
August 16th, I
Hmm.
knew for a fact that this will bomb. But I was very, very happy with the fact that it is black and white. It stays true to the show and the
Yeah.
world. And we knew that if even if it doesn't work, it is good. I was happy with it. And I guess that's what matters in the end, that the
Right.
creators are happy, and once you put in that much effort and that much love and trust and belief into your work, I think the audience does see that and reciprocate.
Right. But just besides the bump up of the audience that you have now, Netflix coming in, the sheer relief of not having to plug an academy.
uh,
All that advantages aside, did you have a pressure as well? Because when a show like this happens, and it's so idiomatic and it captures our thoughts so much. There's also this thing, I have to connect this time as well, and let's see what audience reaction is. Let's put this. Maybe they would want to see this. Did all those thoughts cross your mind?
Absolutely. After season one became a massive hit in 2019, we
Hmm.
knew by looking at other shows and other seasons of other shows that what we really need to do and what we don't need to do. We knew that we need to show natural progression of the story, of the characters, and not go exploitative. What it's not what the audience wants of the show.
Yeah.
It is what was natural to tell of what happens to Webber, what happens to Mina. And these are instances and things that we've picked up from real life, that a student moves from one coaching class to another. Teachers move from one coaching class
Right.
to another. So there are several things we will be exploring in season two as well. So one of the best things about Netflix is that when they, when I guess when they saw the show, they knew the potential of the show. And I would not like to take away from the fact that an academy was there in season one, and there's a lot of backlash that brands get when they do branded content
Right. Right.
with TVF. But at TVF, we're trying to find that sweet marriage, that perfect balance where we have to keep the brand happy, but not throw the audience off as well. So if you see the integrations in season one, they
Yeah.
are
Yeah. Yeah.
organic.
Yeah.
So,
That's good.
uh, but having said that, season one was a YouTube show, and now this is a Netflix series. The fact that it is going to go to 190 countries, and as a director, as a creator, I would love as many people to watch this series as possible. And I don't belong to that school of thought or that ideology that no, I'm happy. I don't care about you. I care about the audience. I want them to like my work. The fact that I'm making is only and only for the audience. So I used to tell people that the fruits of labor in season one are what we will be enjoying in season two as writers, as a director, as creators, and as TVF in general. So it's just brilliant that Netflix picked up the show and it's a Netflix series now. And on 24th, I hope people give that same kind of love and affection that season one got, and keep the expectations low. Expectation is the biggest killer. People expect a lot from season one, and when they watch a season two, it might not be hitting expectations, because our expectations for everything, things, people, ourselves are always higher. It's a human condition, if I may. So just come into this world exactly how you came into the world in 2019, and you will be happy.
I'm very curious. There's been a market shift that happened. I'm sure you had a roadmap from the first season onward, like where
Mhm.
you had a big sense of, let's say, where it goes. Continuous series will do that. But you have a core writing change in the credits. So I wanted to know what else did you guys look at, maybe chance upon after the first season came out and wanted to integrate. You may mention that the shift of coaching centers, but that's an element that was introduced in the first season as well. Like it starts with him wanting to go to ministry. What else did you guys find that was fascinating and you wanted to explore?
Now, for example, in season two, we explore Jitu Bhaiya and how he quits his prodigy classes and he starts his own thing called Aimers. So, uh, what are the struggles that a person goes through? And while he goes through, someone like a Jitu Bhaiya, who's supposed to be the go-to man, the
Right.
perfect guy who knows everything, you break that image, you humanize that character who you think is godlike. The fact that you can see him going through motions, the fact that you can see his problems and how he reacts to them, yet trying to hold on to his sanity and also trying to stay true to who he is and inspire students. So the it's, as I said, it's a natural progression for the story. So in the very beginning itself, we knew what our 4 or 5 seasons of this show will be like. So, as I said, in the first season, we needed to introduce the world, show Kota as a character also, and that's what we did. Get the audience to like our characters, or even and the fact that they love them now. It's absolutely beautiful, and the fact that they will want to come back and see these actors, these characters after whole 2 whole years. One of the beautiful things about this show is that even after 2 years of shooting, the characters have never changed. You can still feel Weber as Weber. That is one big thing that was weighing down on my mind. That what would the character, what would the how would the actors feel going back to a character they played 2 years ago? Uh, one thing that we always knew in our heads was to not mimic or mime or ape everything that we had done in season one, because it's very easy to go back and look at what you've done and recreate it. And that's where the trouble is. We From season one to season two, you just feel the need to recreate what has worked, and that is exactly what we haven't done. So story wise, we knew what our 4 to 5 seasons would be like. What is Weber, who's the protagonist of the show, his character, his graph, his arc going to be like, and what will happen to Jitu Bhaiya, what will happen to Shivangi, what will happen to Uday. We always knew that who's going to make it to IIT and who's not. So everything has been thought out, fleshed out, and it's just now on 24th, season 2 is going, and season 3 should be happening around the same time, September 24th, 2022, I hope.
Now to tell me this, one of the most nicest novelties of the show has been this is not a show about an aspiring artist who's forced into an engineering environment and who's struggling. That story has been told before, and you give that dignity to a character like Vaibhav, who's in this. It's his life, it's his world, and he accepts it. He wants to become an IITian and and go the mile. At the same time, dude, this is not a show that is itself smitten with that world, right? You're not exactly blind to the corruption, the excess, the greed,
Mhm.
and to be very frank, the sheer absurdity of so many people trying for just that limited number of seats. How do you reconcile these two things? Because the show is very positive, about Bharat, at least initially, where he's going and headed. But I won't say that this is a recruiting show that that only presents the good side of it. You are very much aware of how what this world actually means and what goes on in there. How do you reconcile these two dimensions of Kota Factory?
We always knew that we never. So it's the education system. It gets a lot of flack.
Yeah,
Everyone we talk to, are like, oh, our education is so bad. We don't teach the right kind of things. But you have to realize that we have one of the our country has so many brilliant minds, and it has come only through this education system. Yes, everything has its ups and downs, pluses and minuses. But how do you make the best of what you have? Is that balancing factor we knew. So the coaching classes, what they do is they cut, copy, paste, they multiply, they want to grow bigger. It has become a bit of a business, but at the same time you have to realize that getting into IIT is such a prestigious thing. It is amazing that a kid from even the smallest village in India to South Bombay, anyone can apply for IT, and if you're brilliant you can make it. It's just about ability, it's about ambition. And and everyone has ambitions. So the fact that it became relatable, so even if you are a UPSC student, or even if you're going into 10th standard or 12th or any competitive exam that you're giving, you will always see yourself as Vaibhav. Or if you'll always see yourself as Vartika, you'll always know or want someone like a Jitu Bhaiya in your life, or have had a Jitu Bhaiya in your life. So it's about finding that balance, about trying to tell the positives and the negatives of every aspect of life, and it's not just whitewashing it and painting it to be completely red, or saying it's. And that's one of the major reasons why the show is in black and white. Do you want? It's very binary, the world. It's a one or a zero. You make it or you don't. It's totally up to you. It's what you want to use and what you want to let go. And that's what life is all about. It's finding that balance between what you want to keep and what you want to let go.
Rama, tell me, as a filmmaker, what are the challenges of dramatizing academics? And there are some cliches that you very nicely avoid. That I'm tired of seeing numbers pop out of the screen in VFX. You don't do that. There is maximum a shot behind the blackboard, but you don't see any VFX work there. I like that, and the little quest that you put into academics. You have to find some paper. In the second season, there's the whole thing about him wanting to get out of Maheshwari, and he can't because the
Mhm,
dad won't let him.
mhm.
What are these little? How do you go about taking technically an academic pursuit and finding ways to give it almost that sports film feeling, where audiences are engaged. The cinema needs to keep moving, and then it has to have some complications, some problem that needs to be solved. How do you approach this?
Okay, so I, as a director, definitely always am not looking to exploit anything that I have on paper, or the fact that it exists on paper comes from real life. The fact that this show exists, the writers of season one were IITians. Arunab Kumar, the creator of the show, Saurabh Khanna, the creator of the show, and the writers as well, they were students of Bansal sir. They have been to Kota. Saurabh Khanna has taught at these coaching institutes as a professor, teacher. So a lot of stuff is ingrained into their lives, and they know it, they know the insides and out of this entire universe. So uh, we did not want to glorify anything that did not require glorification, and we did not want to exploit something that could have been just easily exploited, and you know that people will love this. So when it comes to the treatment, I have a very humanistic approach to my entire body of work that I have done up until now or want to do in the future. I So for example, if as you said, VFX heavy stuff popping up, it's that
Yeah,
I understand that it elevates or it needs to be shown in such a way to bring the audience to speed as to what the character is feeling. But there are several different ways of showing it, and but there is only one right way, they say. So choosing that sweet balance as to how much do I have, how much will the camera move to make the audience feel that Weber is having a realization. So it's very old school also, this approach to the entire show, the treatment of the show. It does not the camera moves only when there is motivation. If there is and if it is just a moment to be absorbed, I will leave it on a master. I will leave it for the audience to really absorb the image. And for example, the drone shots, they're not just simple drone shots of the city establishing. There's story weaved into
Yeah,
those drone shots. So those are little
very
old school
significantly
things.
with something with Jitendra this time. Yeah,
Yes, exactly. So
yeah.
how do we, it can't be just a soulless moving drone shot, you know. So
Right,
every
right.
if everything, every second has to have meaning, and that is what I'm doing as a director, or trying very hard, that I make this a visual show where people love
Hmm.
to watch it and not just hear it. If I don't make it a visual and tasty looking show, it might as well just be a radio show, right?
One of the surface critique of the show would be that it does not deal that directly, let's say, at least the first season onwards, that with let's say suicides or mental health or drugs, so and in that sharp way, that in that investigative journalism way that we are used to seeing. But you emotionally find ways to integrate things. There's a little cheeky bit in the opening with Shushu's mother calling Vaibhav
Hmm.
up, and
Hmm.
I don't want to speak with the further into the show, but how important is it to emotionally restrain yourself and touch on things that you very much aware of, but also keep the mood, like you said, that the characters. There's of course the question of permission of getting to do this in Kota itself and keep the show alive and keep the possibilities alive, not just people off beyond the point. How do you navigate in all these very tricky terrain of doing on touching on these things?
Yeah, so when we were writing season one, we knew whenever we talk to people who have been to Kota or haven't been, especially the ones who haven't been to Kota, whenever you tell them or speak to them about Kota, they almost immediately think of suicides. But that's the thing about this place. Suicides is only a 0.01% of what this place has to offer, and that and somehow we have become, I don't know, this breed of people who love negativity on the news. So the fact that, if a child has to go on end up killing herself or himself, it is that thing that people stick to, that thing that they harbor on. But there are so many other things, so many better, beautiful, brighter things that we miss out on. What they don't see is these are 16, 17-year-old kids who are left home trying to make it and trying to get a better life by going to IIT or become doctors, so that they can have a better life for themselves and achieve something and become something bigger than what society tells them to be. So that drive is what we wanted to stick to, and that was the soul of the show. So and that's when we decided that, season one we will stay away from it as much as possible, but it required to be talked about in
Right,
season two.
this time.
So this time around we knew that we had to address it because it exists, and we had to do it again. I said it, we don't want to exploit the fact that children kill themselves, but we need to just touch upon the fact that some people do, and it is a fear based thing, that it is always there in the back of your head. Children talk about it, you might hear kids talk about it, but if you go back and see statistically, the number has declined quite a bit over the last 10 years because of therapy, because of counseling, because of an open relationship with the management and the students. You can see this number has declined over the years. So we wanted to touch upon it, and we want to do it gently. So when you see that Susu and mom scene, you can see the tension on Rebel's face, and and the fact that, what a parent can go through when the child is away. And these are 16, 17-year-old kids, like just out of 10. So that fear always is there in the back of your head, but we never wanted to go for it. We never wanted to cash it in, as they say. You see how the season ends,
right,
and imagine the things that the professors go through. Imagine what the institute feels like. Imagine what the other students who haven't even gone into 12th, who will be giving IITJ in a couple of months, less than
yeah,
6 months, would be feeling when someone that they knew or they heard of or have seen in the flesh has killed himself or herself. So what happens to people, and how the city reacts, how the city is impervious to these suicides, yet it is painted in a very negative fashion. We wanted to
yeah,
keep it very, very subtle and just
yeah,
let it go.
yeah, yeah. And you're done again. Rahul, tell me this. One of my favorite sketches in the second season is with Meena, and it starts out comic that he needs to get ground himself, and he's being advised that he try out masturbation, and you initially okay, this is funny, but then you get into an emotional space with it, with Jitu Bhaiya coming over and speaking to him, and there's an odd foreshadowing as he leaves that it's like Demi, and there's a lot of emotional weight and seriousness that you put to something like this, and that I think a lot of people will connect with this. Tell us about writing and no, just designing that whole part with Meena. Also, Ranjan pulling it off so well.
So Ranjan, we knew that the innocence of Ranjan that we had established in season one needed to be seen even more. We knew that the characters have to bloom in season two. We knew Ranjan needs a track where he needs to slightly come of age in his own way. Coming of age in since the last 10 years has become a whole new subgenre in itself.
Yeah,
So it's always about going out, stealing stuff, or
right,
going out there and doing things, outlandish things, to
right,
feel something bigger than yourself. But that's
yeah,
not how it happens in real life. In real life, it's very intrinsic. It happens from within. It changes from within, and then you become a person, right? So what we knew that Meena had to grow slightly older, and the fact that masturbation is seen as a big problem for him, the fact that he doesn't understand how to
yeah,
work around a crush, which comes almost naturally to us because we talk about things, we watch things, but Meena, coming from a humbler background, is trying
yeah,
to still figure out what it is like, or even, and he gets addicted to it, as a matter of fact. So we knew when we were writing the episode that it should not be outrightly laugh out loud funny, where you just go
mm,
drop everything and you're rolling on the floor laughing. We
yeah,
knew that there has to be some humanness to it. We knew that there has to be subtlety in it also. So when the final conversation with Jitu Bhaiya happens, we knew that all along the way it should never get gross. It should
mm,
never be disgusting or dirty, or however our current films and shows portray it to be. And
mm,
the fact that we want to normalize something like a masturbation or pleasuring yourself is where that thought came from, that we have to
mm,
keep it it's a very it's very simple. It's like breathing, or it's like
yeah,
thinking, and it doesn't need to be given that much importance. You do it and you move on, that's it. And
right,
there's
right,
nothing wrong, and there's absolutely
right,
nothing wrong. And that is what we wanted to say. Otherwise, it's
mm,
all, everywhere you see, it's just painted in a different
yeah,
light. So we knew what we did not want to do, and that is the start and the end of many things in this show. And as writers and directors at TVF, we know that what we don't want to do. That is our starting point at all
right,
times.
right. Right. Raghav, over the last few years, did you have a very interesting or perceptive reaction from a parent, let's say, someone who's in the middle journey of of a Vaibhav and a Maheshwari, stands at that ground where they support the kid, but there's a lot of emotional weight that they carry within themselves. They don't want them to suffer, but they want them to succeed as well. Did you have an interesting reaction from any parent or someone who wrote to you or maybe spoke to you about the show?
Yes. So when first of all, this show was absolutely not promoted during season one.
Yeah.
It was just we just
Okay.
uploaded it with one poster of Jitu
Yeah.
Bhaiya with all our six characters, and it just started rolling in millions. And uh, because it was YouTube, it proliferated to several parts of India.
Hmm.
And it was not just the urban audiences that was sampling the show, but also from tier one, tier two cities where
Hmm.
it really resonated with the audience. So, uh, and the fact that this show does not have abuses as much as you would
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
or like to
Hmm.
hear
Hmm.
or see in a young adult show. The fact that we deal with ideas and motives and themes of achieving something bigger than yourself or wanting to aim higher,
Hmm.
make it to IIT, crack IIT or medical. So that feeling that is what really worked with the parents as well. Parents got to see themselves in that show as well. We do not
Yeah.
leave them out. We do not leave their feelings out of this entire Kota universe. How they feel when a child is going through something but is there alone. So a lot of friends and their parents said, people who went to Kota, for example, they are like, dude, this is exactly my life. My mother is exactly like Webhouse
Yeah.
mother. She exactly felt what my father came with me for admissions to Kota, got
Hmm.
rejected from one institute, went to another, got rejected from there. So a lot of parents and my friends and people just Instagram DMs, this I am Webhouse. Webhouse is me. I am
Uh,
Meena. There
uh,
were so many messages. So you could, and I'm not social media friendly. I'm not too much on Instagram and
hmm.
everything. But once in a while, when the show released, I saw my DMs and they were filled with just people crying their heart out, just saying, "This is me. I feel this, and I relate to this. This is my life. 10 years ago, I was exactly like this." So the beauty of this show is that I think I want to make timeless stuff. So even after 60 years, if a student in Kota picks up Kota Factory and goes to see it should never feel dated. It should feel like this talks about me. It talks about our time and our coaching class. And I don't think IIT is going anywhere for the next till the end of time. So I think this show
Right.
will live on.
Right. Raghav, I can ask you because I'll be coming out after post release. I want to know, do you have how are plans for season three? Are you guys already prepping? And
Mhm.
what are you looking at? And to this, I'll just add this. The way academics has shifted through the pandemic. There's been like a huge spin to the whole world, and it's almost
Mhm.
antiquated to see. When we watch the show, I was like, oh, fuck, going to a tuition would be a relief, right? For kids who are there on the laptop working all day. I see like my sister
Mhm.
all day just stuck to that one corner in the room. Will that ever be integrated to the mode of the show? And where are you looking to go ahead with this?
So, as when we were discussing season one, we always knew what our subsequent seasons, where would they
Hmm.
go, what will happen to our characters, who makes it to ID and who doesn't.
Yeah, yeah.
So we always circle around, check back if we are still going with that thought. How do we work around it? So our graph is set.
Hmm.
Season three is being written right now as we speak.
Hmm.
We have Puneet Batra writing the show, and I will be directing the show as well. I want to see the show till the end, till it reaches the tunnel and the white light at the end of the tunnel.
Right.
So
Right.
season three is being written, and we
Huh.
know how season four will be also.
Huh.
The fact that we it's amazing that you said during the pandemic students using laptops. I had a really strange thought that day that there are these
Hmm.
2 years where students never went to college. They have been at home
Yeah.
using laptops and have graduated, who've gone to 11th and
Right.
12th only through a laptop. They have never lived this life. They've never been to a coaching class. They've never really made friends. They never really hung out with anybody. And that breaks my heart. It really
Hmm.
broke my heart knowing that 2 years, there's so many countless number of students who missed out on college life. or high school, as some people prefer to say it. So uh, it's something, we all during season two's pre-prod and writing, we were questioning if we want to put in the pandemic, if we want to put in what's happening in real life into the show, but we decided no, it's a fictional show, and we did not, and it needs to stand the test of time. So we definitely wanted to stay away from whatever happens. COVID-19 was happening in the world at that time. So you can imagine, we shot, wrote, and edited this entire show in the middle of a pandemic when we were sanitizing our vegetables. We were out there shooting with 800 extras with a crew of 150, and we had a shoot across two cities, and it was and nobody
The
on the
second
crew.
one being
We shot some bits in Bhopal.
Kota.
Yeah. So
And Bhopal and Kota.
yeah, majorly we did it in Kota because Kota factor,
Ha,
of
ha, ha.
course. So shooting across two cities, the fact that COVID was out there at large,
Right.
none of the crew members, none, not even one, from day one to day 46, nobody got COVID, despite shooting with so many people. So it's amazing that processes were followed, and none of the actors, despite not wearing a mask around so many people in that closed classroom at the peak of COVID-19, nobody got it. So I'm just glad that we everyone managed, survived, and pulled through. And we do not want to show COVID-19 in this fiction show.
Raghav, all the best for season two, season three. I hope to interview you for season nine finale or whenever. And I hope you keep making and churning Kota Factory out. All the best, and hope to catch up soon. Thank you so much. I'm really excited. I hope people love and enjoy season two as well. All the best, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sunil. Thank you.